And we're live. And just give me 1 second. Let me just do a sneaky one of those. There we go. Now we're all in the right place. Good morning, everybody, and welcome in
Hello.
to another episode of Morning Ritual, which is our TTRPG talk show. For those of you who are just joining us, uh, despite the fact we've been at this for 3 years. Hi, I'm one of your
Many
hosts.
long years.
I'm one of your hosts, Anita. Over here, yeah.
I'm the other one, Noir. I'm barely awake and I'm a little under the weather, so forgive me if my vibes are off.
uh, And we've got an amazing guest with us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, everybody. My name is Andre. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm a TTRPG guy. Uh, if you want to see some stuff, you can follow me at AndreRiveraArt on a bunch of social media, as well as at my website, AndreRiveraArt, where you can see my illustration portfolio. All the games I've designed, many of which have been with the lovely Super Dylan, friend of the show. Many actual plays that I've been in on a bunch of different channels, as well as a few podcasts. Uh, that's the spiel.
Heck yeah.
I I have in my head a little name for the group that you hang out with, like the New York Five. I listen, I'm from Chicago. I hate New York, but I'm always jealous when I see you, AJ, Dylan, Wally, and
Christian.
yeah, all hanging out. I'm just like, man, I love those people,
Mm-hmm.
but also
They're a great
fuck y'all a
crew.
little bit.
Well, I'm not actually New York crew. Fun facts, not yet.
What?
I still live in Indy. I have just been able to get out there a lot more frequently. Um,
Oh, so you're
last
closer to me.
I'm way closer to you, pal. Just a 2 hour drive, and I'm
What?
there.
I've been
Uh,
including you in the whole New York gang, and you are actually Midwest gang.
Secretly
How?
Midwest gang.
Secret.
Secretly, you fucking traitor. No.
uh, Last year I actually we had a big fundraiser stream that Dylan and I did kind of in conjunction with we released last year during October. We did a crazy thing of we did TTRPG Promptober. We tried to make a game every fucking day of October, and we died. So we like recovered for like 3 weeks, and then because I want to move to New York, we set up a stream to help raise money to get to New York.
Wow.
And we raised a lot of money, and then I eventually went to New York during December. And I had set up this whole plan uh, with like finding a landlord to like meet up with in Brooklyn, but it turns out they just stole my money, and the place didn't
Oh,
exist, and I sank $800. Uh,
Oh,
and then I had to pay out of pocket to stay in a hotel in Brooklyn during Christmas.
that
So I
sucks.
lost all that
criminal.
money. Yeah. So it was very
One
unfortunate.
one more reason, fuck New York.
Yeah. But I'm still trying to get there. I love New York. New York is great. Um,
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
just it's just con artists suck.
yeah.
That's the core of
Yeah.
it. And I'm very excited
I mean,
to
fuck
actually
landlords
live in
too,
New
but at the
York,
same
and
time.
yeah, yeah,
So
definitely fuck
besides,
landlords.
so besides the obviously cool folks over in New York, and I want you to know how much that hurts me to say. Is there anything else about the place that appeals to you?
First of all, I hate driving. I still don't have a driver's license. And the public transportation there is incredible. Um, I'm a big like educational facilities person. I love museums and zoos and shit, and there's no shortage of those in New York either. Um, I I already have like a ton of friends in there in New York. and the TTRPG scene in New York is like very solid. It's like a lot of it is based around these a few different locations around Manhattan with this store called Hexen Company.
Yeah, I've seen you guys there a couple of
Yeah,
times. Well,
Hexen Co
I
is very
haven't
fun.
been, but yeah. Uh,
It's a good time.
yeah, that's awesome. I'm kind of glad you found your people, and I have to say your art is just your art it's very fun to just look at. Like I know that's not the greatest compliment one can give
That's a
art.
very good compliment for me. That's the goal.
It really is just so it's if I feel like I can see the fun you have making your art in your art. And
Yeah.
I always loved artists that can do that. Can I ask how you got your start in art in general, and then how you pivoted to doing art for TTRPGs in particular?
Yeah. So I have been drawing since I my one of my first memories is literally like drawing Sesame Street characters. So like it's in my blood. Um and I knew from a very early age that I wanted to be an artist. So I just like went to school like a lot of other kids grew up being like, I don't know what to do when I like leave school, and I'm like, I'm going to be an artist. That's just done. I don't have to have this crisis. And I went to school here in India. I went to Heron School of Art and Design at IUPUI, which is now apparently IU Indianapolis because Purdue University divorced. Um, that's a whole other thing. Anyway, um, and it was really gratifying. But halfway through junior year, there was this little bug called COVID-19. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
heard of
Yeah.
it. And
real underground stuff that.
real underground stuff.
Yeah.
And it totally threw off kind of my plans for college because one of the reasons I picked the college that I did was that in senior year, all of the seniors in the drawing and illustration department and the painting department get their own like shared studio with another student. Um, so there's just like a workspace in the art building for them to like work just whenever they want. Um, and obviously with COVID-19, they were not going to do that. So March came around and everything got locked down, and uh, art school online sucks. I think that's pretty obvious. It's just there's no way to facilitate that same experience online when you can't you literally can't draw on the same piece of paper. So
Right.
it was weird. People who weren't doing digital art were just up the creek. Um,
Mhm.
Eventually, we did go back to in person once the fall semester started, but everyone was masked up, and we did get the studios, but we weren't allowed to stay like later than like 6 p.m. And previously, you
Mm,
could stay 24 hours. Like you could just
Oh, yeah.
live there if you
it
wanted.
just do all the art you wanted.
Yeah.
Oh.
So after that, I was like, I'm gonna take a year off of school and see if that makes things more reliable. It was also around the time during the lockdown that I started promoting myself on TikTok. I used to be on TikTok a lot, obviously, like a lot of people were during the lockdown. Um, and I'm also a very like performative person.
Yeah.
So that was a way for me to be able to like get out a lot of that performative energy that I was previously channeling through just being social at school and playing like in person D&D. And eventually, I started working with a bunch of people in a now canceled campaign that we no longer even speak of. It's the Forbidden campaign, but
We
um,
dare not
it,
speak its name.
we dare not speak its name. But it was a great campaign with Sarah's Coffee, Click Clack
Oh,
Snack, Chaotic Bonnie, um, and two other people who are not so much in the scene anymore, who are Seal and Adara. We're both lovely people. But it was a
that's a hell of a groove.
it was a great group. And I originally was just watching the show and I was making a little bit of like fan art for it. And then they were like, holy shit, this is so cool. And the GM reached out to me and was like, do you want to be in the show as a guest? And I joined. Like the campaign was like a modern college like fantasy game. So all the main characters were college students, who were like also. It's very like
Fantasy high, except in college.
More so in the sense of like Percy Jackson, where like the magic world was hidden.
Gotcha.
And so my character worked for. His name was Doug Salazar, and he was an agent at this place called the Institute, which is like where they like sort out all the magic shit and like they like do all the paperwork to like make their lives into like the regular world like okay. And he was just an agent who was just more of like a social worker, but wanted to do more like in the field like super spy shit, and was also way into cryptids and cryptozoology. So that was like his whole like thesis paper that he was working on for his grad program. He was an inquisitive rogue, and he had 8 con, and he was doing his damnedest.
Oh gosh, 8 Constitution.
8 Constitution for a rogue is brutal.
8 Constitution for anybody, I think it's
brutal.
Yeah, 8 con for anybody is brutal. But I rolled all my stats and I was like, this 8 has to be something fun and stupid, because it was originally just going to be a one-off character, and then eventually he just started recurring back on the show. But I was like, college students don't have the best nutrition. This makes sense of like just not taking care of themselves. So, but I made the character and I showed up as a guest and everybody had a great time. And I just ended up hanging out with them like all the time after that. And then that's kind of how I got introduced to a lot more of the TTRPG space after that, as I just kept going on to more shows. I was very close with The Welcome In. The Welcome In. And
Welcome In did a wonderful job of transitioning a lot of TikTokers into actual plays. I gotta give them kudos for that.
Totally.
We've got so many great performers because of that channel.
Definitely. And Sarah was a very pivotal part in helping me to like emerge as my own kind of like person in this space. So I owe a lot of my where I am today from them. So I'm very, very honored. Like Sarah looked out for me especially, but and I still play with Serenity and Depth to this day. We play in a D&D campaign called Tragedy Theologian, which is a Greek mythology campaign. We're all champions of gods. It's very fun, very goofy, just a blast. But so that's kind of how I got started in this space.
No, it's I've heard a few folks who've gotten their start because they did fan art, and I just love that there are just so many. There are so many different ways into getting into actual plays, and it's very interesting to see like some of the common routes taken. You're now part of some really impressive shows. Would you like to talk about some of the shows that you're on now?
I would love to. I'm
not hinting towards any particular.
No, there's
show.
none in particular. Anyway, so I'm on the Atom list, which is a Starfinder 1E podcast and actual play. It's been running for, I think just the other day was our 2-year anniversary since starting recording. It is a campaign about a bunch of broken people who find each other and eventually they make themselves a crew and run around the galaxy trying to solve shit.
To
Um,
answer the question that Dylan posed in chat, yes, Andre is the final Atomless guest, the
I'm the
final piece
final
of the
Atomless
puzzle.
guest.
Wait,
Yes.
did we collect them all? Did we
We
just
did.
Thanos just now?
We
We have
did.
all the power stones. Um, so my character is Theriac, who is a biohacker Raxolite. Raxolites are like these little, like, kind of plant people. In the books, they look more like dandelions, but I worked with Matt, and we determined that Raxolites in the Atomless universe are like fruits and vegetables. Um, so Theriac is like a garlic, um,
He's a garlic.
and
Garlic
a little
baby.
garlic guy. Um, and Theriac is the co-creator of a xenoecological educational facility, not a zoo. It's not a zoo. Called Wild Times, and it's totally a zoo, and it's absolutely a theme park. And it's been very fun to play this little mad scientist who also has a lot of like religious subtext, which has been very fun.
Religious subtext or religious trauma?
Religious, I wouldn't say trauma, because I think Theriac combines mad scientist with mad priest arc. Like so like a lot of the god complex is like baked into that character. And kind of the thought process of like how I created Theriac was that I started out with the Raxolites and determined I wanted to do something besides just flowers. I wanted to do the fruits and vegetables. And I drew a bunch of just a bunch of little fruit and vegetable guys. And I was like, okay, I have like mangoes and sweet potatoes and grapes and strawberries, but like, which one do I want to play? And I was looking online. I was just researching a bunch of different fruits and vegetables, and I eventually came across garlic. And garlic has a lot of like healing like properties. It's like one of those like superfoods, right? That just provides a ton of nutritional supplements and vitamins. And as I was looking into it, I eventually found the word Theriac. Theriac is a word, and it basically means like it's like a catch-all. It's like a miracle like salve,
right?
And I was like, that's so baked into like how a lot of people, you know, promote religion, and like it's this thing that'll just like save you. And obviously being tied into like the biohackers can either like give boosts to different people and like provide bonuses for attacks and healing, or they can take that away from them too, so they can like inflict negative bonuses to attack rolls, or like take away the ability to heal. So
that's good. One of the things that I especially want to ask you about this character is he's a little garlic boy, and it'd be so easy to kind of just play into the comedy of a little garlic boy on a space adventure. But the Animalist is one of those shows that it takes real deep turns, and it is a story of substance. So do you have to do work to kind of avoid falling for the trope of just playing into the little garlic boy, or does it just kind of come naturally where this is an established character who just happens to be a little garlic boy?
I come from a background of animation where any silly idea can be taken very seriously at any moment. So that's never been a problem for me. I have a very good grasp on how to balance the kind of silly aspect of a character and like kind of the absurdity of a character along with those more dramatic tones and flares. It's and obviously like the concept of a walking, talking garlic person with a lab coat and a little scouter lens is it's just goofy. It looks ridiculous, especially compared to like Sky or Azam, who are just like normal humanoids, right? Um, and then you have this like 3 foot plant person walking around, right? Um, but a lot a lot of drama comes from taking the absurd and saying yes, it's absurd. That doesn't make it any less dramatic.
Right.
Um, and that's a lot of what I think my ethos of like creating very thematic characters comes from, um, both like aesthetically, like I try to like create a character that like feels very much like a part of an established universe, as well as like narratively what will fit a campaign's like overarching storyline.
I, I, another question that I have to kind of bring to you is this: the Animalist is getting traction. It's been getting traction for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
you've been a part of this from the start, from day zero.
Yep.
What's it like to be a part? I mean, you've been a part of actual plays before that, you've taken part in it, and people watched it and enjoyed it, and then you just kind of put it to bed. But you've got, again, there's traction for the Animalist. There are people doing fan art. There are people making TikToks. Like this is becoming something, something substantial, something that that's a part of people's lives.
Yeah.
What's that like? And when did you kind of notice that this was something special?
Um, I'm going to be very honest. It happened very recently. I have always kind of like understood that uh that the Animalist was like bigger than my other shows, and like people watched it and listened to it very regularly, and I was like, that's cool. But I don't think it really hit me until I was just at PAX Unplugged just like a few weeks ago. And me, Matt, and Norden were all invited to play in a legit, like official Paizo Starfinder live show, which is bonkers. Um, and I was like, that's very cool. And then when we were there on the stage and we were playing live on Twitch, uh, there were like people in the chat that were like watching, as well as after the show, a bunch of people like came up to me and were like, "I love the show. I love Theoryag. You guys do such good stuff." I was like, oh, they're real. I can touch them, you know.
Validation.
And
Good.
it's so different from being than seeing all these comments online, because you're like, yeah, it's a guy out there, somewhere. But when they're real, you're like, oh shit, this is a person with like interests and like motivation to actually watch. Like they choose to watch the show, and that's so different from and obviously like people who do the fan art, like they're on a different level entirely. As someone
Yeah.
who started with doing fan art, like that's that's it's crazy. It's enormous to think that like I started doing fan art for shows, and now I'm making characters and playing in shows that are now getting fan art. Um,
The
and
circle of life continues.
yeah,
You are now the thing that makes the fan art happen.
there, as Dylan
Make or
mentioned in
be
a
made.
yes, as Dylan mentioned in chat, there are Animalist puppets. My character has been made into like I think it's a crocheted puppet.
I've seen that on TikTok
Yes,
actually.
it's very good. And they do like just the lip sync with the puppet to all my lines. It's very cute. It's very fun. Um, a shout out to them. I can't remember your name at the moment, but
I
you
and
were so cool.
I do have to say it's extraordinarily impressive for a show to get traction using a system other than 5e.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fully like I fully blame all of the success on the show on like everyone else at the show. Like uh I feel very lucky to be a part of the show. But I basically what I do is I show up for a game and I make art sometimes and that's it. Everyone else does so much work for the show. Norden regularly like manages like the social media accounts and does a lot of our like outreach with like different like not sponsorships but like collaborations with stuff. Like Norden helped us out with a lot of the like Paizo stuff that just happened with PAX Unplugged. Dylan and Mo and Matt all kind of take turns trading off the editing for the podcast itself. And that's a huge undertaking. Like every episode of the Atom List takes like at least like minimum 8 to 9 hours to record if they're doing like a quick like hour and a half session. Like they do so much work in like curating the music, balancing audio, adding sound effects, and making that podcast feel so like lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, Matt, our GM, does so much, you know, for just running the show.
Yeah.
And they're killer.
So, I have to ask you.
Yeah.
What would you like to see next for the Atom List? And what would you like to see next for your character in particular?
So, what I would like next for Atom List, right now we're in a very fun, scary arc. We're in kind of like a dystopian horror arc. I don't know if this is spoilers, so close your ears if you care about that.
Spoilers for the Atom List current.
Spoilers for the Atom List, like episodes 25 through 20.
When I put my arms up like this, spoilers are done. So
Dylan, don't listen.
Yeah. Dylan, stop listening. So we currently just got out of this place called Neutrino Downs, which is this very like wild west like sci-fi western town, and we just went into like the core of this like desert planet where there's this whole society that's owned by like a beauty company, and they're all immortal. They found out how to like not die and like stop aging, so they all have had like plastic surgery done to like make everyone look the same, and like they worship these like few individuals named Aphrodite, Adonis, and Venus, and they run the town. It's weird and it's creepy, but we discovered fairly recently that there are like people who have been like maimed and impaled and like fully like destroyed, but they can't die because of like where they are. They're just not allowed to die, so they're just in like constant agonizing pain, consistently dying all the time. And it's from this crystal that we're trying to like grab. So we're trying to figure out if we should take the crystal or like, and because we want to take the crystal, but we don't want to just kill everybody because we don't know if this is going to be some like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade shit where like if we like take it, they're going to just like insta age and just turn to dust, right? So that's where we are right now.
Spoilers over.
Spoilers over. What I would like to see next is we have a little bit of Azam stuff going on right now, but I would love to see even more Azam stuff. Azam has so much going on with his backstory, with being, you know, this rebel leader who failed to like protect a lot of, you know, his home planet and his people. And I want to see that being channeled towards either trying to like revitalize that planet, like take it back, or towards a different similar, you know, cause for justice of a different planet that some corporations are trying to take over. So that I'm interested in.
That's cool.
What I would like to see for Theriac in the future is Theriac is actually in also a romantic subplot. with Dylan's character Ig, who's a technomancer, Yisoki, which is like a little rat. So a rat and a garlic are in love, and
It is so
I
cute.
want they. It's very cute, and I want to see how that relationship progresses because they've done a lot of work. Theoriac has not always done good things on the show, and uh, basically, Ike is being like, okay, so can you not do that anymore? And Theoric's like, okay, I'll try not to. So
She's
it's
just
kind
a
of
little lady.
a little
You have
bit.
to listen.
She's just a lady.
She's just a lady.
We can't let down the lady. Um.
Oh,
So,
oh no! I'm very excited for the future of this show, and I couldn't be happier for this cast. This cast and the GM just incredible. But now I've got to ask you a question.
okay.
It could very well break my heart, but we're gonna fucking do this.
Okay.
There is a silent war going on in the TTRPG community, AJ.
Okay.
There are those that see these little individuals as storytelling devices. You roll them, you see what it says, and then you tell your story. Then there are others that see them as the forbidden crunch, something to put into your mouth, even though it is a choking and dental hazard, and crunch them. Note that I said crunch and not crunch. Crunching is when you put something edible in your mouth. They purposely want to put something inedible in their mouth, so we can't use candy dice because they want to crunch.
Right.
So. There's a number of factions, but ultimately it comes down to three. There are the dice defenders that believe that dice should be protected from crotchers, to protect the dice and to protect the crotchers because it's a dental and a choking hazard. There are the crotch crew, people that say "fuck my health, I want dice in mouth," and then there are the cowards that refuse to choose a side. They call themselves, I don't remember because it's not important.
Crunch responsibly.
Yeah, they want you to do something inherently irresponsible, responsibly. Let's play a nice safe game of Russian roulette, everybody.
Okay. So
that said, I have to ask, what side of this war are you on?
Okay. So, for me personally, I cannot crunch.
Yes.
I'm trying to work on my dental health right now, and that is counterintuitive to my goals.
Yes.
So personally, I am not crunching.
Okay, we can stop it there. You're a dice defender.
I would like to also say,
God damn it! Don't do this.
No. I think you will agree with this statement. Natural selection is a process, and if they can survive crunching, great. That's great for them. If they can't, that's what it is.
Remember I told you there's a number of factions?
Yes.
Congratulations. We know exactly what faction you're on. You're on Kappa's faction, the let them die.
Fully Ivan Drago, if they die, they die. Like,
let them
it is
die.
what it is. I'm glad I'm here with Kappa Chris. Me and Kappa sticking it out.
Darwin's D20s.
Darwin's D20s.
If they die, they die. Well, I'll accept that. That is a part of the Dice Defender faction. So we will take that. And that means that the punishment question comes later for you.
Great. Awesome.
So that means I get to ask you the fun question first, which is, you are the God Emperor of the TTRPG space. You snap your fingers, and any three things happen, no matter how big, no matter how small. it just is. You have all the phenomenal cosmic power of a genie without the itty bitty living space. So, uh, what three things would you make happen?
Okay. Number one, I am going to shrink down the percentage of actual plays that are D&D. I love D&D. It's not the only game that exists.
Yeah.
I would like to see more games that use Starfinder, Pathfinder, and things that aren't even considered like traditional TTRPGs, like Wander Home we were talking about before stream. I don't think I've seen many things that are Wander Home that aren't like one shots. Um, so the things that are less mechanical and more RP heavy, which is what I enjoy playing. I would like to see more of those in the future. I'm also in another show called Streets of Gotham, which is a DC Universe show on Manapot Studios, and we all
What?
it's so sick. And all of the player characters play henchmen to Batman villains. Um, and it's so fun. We use a simplified version of Blades in the Dark, just called In the Dark, that was made by our GM David Brunel Brutman. Um, and it's so fun. Um, that's another
I,
game that I would love to see played more.
how did I not know? I love that concept.
It's so fun. We are about to start filming season 3 in January. My character's name is Adam, who goes by the moniker dot dot dot, and he used to work for the Riddler as his art director. But he was trying to steal his art that could kill people, so he stole it back, and he quit his job, and next season he's working for Bane. So we'll see what happens.
That's awesome.
Um, so that's my first wish. um, my second wish for the TTRPG community is I would like to give every uh, POC actual play and like production person like so much more money. um, we just don't get enough uh, respect and like attention as much as we should. It, I'm glad to be a part of a community where um, for my own personal like network that where we really try to connect with and lift up POC and marginalized voices. That's a very important thing for me, obviously, but also like especially as someone I had an incident recently where I was working along with someone and they were like promoting me because we had done like a sort of collaboration and he was like trying to promote me and he was like, you should hire Andre if you want some Latin flair in your art. And I was like, hey, my guy, let's not do that. Um, uh,
No.
because it's just not well. And there are like some people who like be like their ethnicity or their heritage or their race is like a big part of their like online presence. Like Christian is a great example. A Fluffy Goomba, he's very vocally like, I am a black like TTRPG person. I'm a black video gamer, and like that's awesome. I'm not that. That's just not part of my like brand. I guess I hate that I call it that, but it's
I
not
mean,
part of
it's
my
what it
brand.
is.
It's what it is. Like I'm not like I'm a Puerto Rican, you know, and being Puerto Rican is a big part of like me, and it's a big part of like how I create a lot of my characters, but it's not part of my brand or like
It's
how I advertise myself, you know.
Right.
it's not a quirky marketable trait. It's part of who you are as a human.
Right. Yeah. Um So that was a situation where I was like, "Hey, my guy, there's a lot going on here, and maybe you shouldn't say that." Um, and he was very respectful, and he took it down and fixed it. And that was nice. But so give more support to POC creators in this space.
Give us support just because look at the awkward shit we have to go through.
It happens to the best of us. My third wish for the TTRPG community, because I'm selfish and I'm God in this moment. I'm Pharaoh, is to make an actual play studio in New York City. Just make it happen. There's been a lot of talk of East Coast actual play recording space, because LA can't win all the time. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but New York, goddamn it, you can't keep getting away with me.
You can't do this. I get it. That's where all the actors live. I'm sorry. I need somewhere else. I recently visited LA in May of 2022. I was staying with Sarah. It was very fun, but I immediately caught COVID. So that put a lot of dents into some plans of ours. But I did meet up with a lot of people. I met up with like Spencer Stark. I met up with Marquis McCarty, Wes, Arcane Anthems, Nicole the Tiefling, just a bunch of people all over who are like local to SoCal. And it was super fun. But I would never want to live in LA. Fun to visit. Never live there.
It's just so expensive. Like I would want to live in LA because I have some good friends that live there, but it's so expensive.
It's so expensive, and you have to have a car.
I have a car.
Yeah.
I lived in Bufu, nowhere, Illinois for a little bit there, so I have. But God, yeah. That brings us to I'm gonna do a one wish for myself if y'all don't mind.
No, by all means.
Yeah. My wish, if I were the God Emperor of TTRPG, I wish that everyone that was laid off from WotC got 30 minutes alone in a room with the CEO, and whatever happens in that room stays in that room.
If they die, they die.
Like it's just the purge in that room.
Yeah.
So Chris Cox or whatever the CEO of Hasbro, you want to earn your $9 million? You finna earn it today. We just
fight.
Just one at a time too. So every person gets their 30 minutes. I'm just imagining sweet little Amy Dolan.
Just little Amy just like
I'm sorry.
So good.
But that's my one wish.
That's a good wish. It's a great wish.
I'd like to throw my own wish in the hat, please, if it's okay with everybody.
Go for it.
Mine is I wish the remaining Wizards employees a very union.
I wish all the Wizards employees a very merry union.
A very merry union.
I wish all workforces a very happy, strong, and spiteful union.
Yes.
But I just, in my mind, I'm just imagining like a fucking phone booth with the CEO in getting this shit rocked by Dan Dillon. That brings us to our next question, which is, and this is the punishment question. I can only hold it off for so long.
All right.
Here we go. You get to play with any 5 people that are alive right now. You get to choose who's the GM and what you're playing, and you don't count towards the 5. What does that table look like?
Any 5 people in the world?
Yep, that's the face. That's the punishment question.
They have to be alive.
God. Damn it. I was gonna say Theodore Roosevelt. Okay. Alive people that I would want to play with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna pick anyone that I have already played with. So
Okay, that's
I'm
fair.
I'm not gonna include them. I want to play with oh fuck. Who's alive?
Name a woman.
No, a woman.
Shaka Khan. I named them all.
Okay. I would play with Danny and Aaron from Game Grumps.
That would be hilarious.
That would be very fun.
Oh my god! No, like I was gonna say no offense, but I don't think this is offensive at all. I think you fit their vibe very well.
Oh, there's so much of where I get my comedy inspiration from. They're wonderful. Man, I have to get 3 more. Jesus.
Yeah. And you got to pick who's GMing, and you got to pick a game.
Oh God. I would play with Lou Wilson.
Yeah.
From D20.
I just want to see Lou Wilson with the Game Grumps now. I didn't know how badly
Oh,
I
yeah.
needed that.
What a great combo that would be.
Until right now. Holy shit.
Oh, man.
You might have the GOAT table already at just 3.
I'm gonna throw in someone who's not like in like the gaming / TTRPG space. I'm gonna throw in Robert Irwin from the Australia Zoo of Steve Irwin's son.
Yeah.
I want just someone from like a conservation science background. That would be fun. And then
I'm sorry, because I just know the Grumps will like inadvertently start doing an Australian accent.
oh, they absolutely would. Just an immediate mockery of themselves. Oh, fuck. Actually, it is Name a Woman. I've recently been watching. I've been getting into tarot recently.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a channel on YouTube. Her name is Mystic Rain. And she's like a black spiritual, like tutor and mentor. So she has a lot of videos about like tarot and like other like kind of witchy supernatural stuff. And she seems fun. I would play with her.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That is an eclectic table, and I am here for it.
I'm an eclectic guy.
What you playing and who's GMing though is the question.
What are we playing? This is so obviously like a comedy game. Let me pull up my TTRPG files. I would play. I'd play City of Mist.
Oh,
City of Mist would be fun as hell.
Good choice. Good
that
choice.
would be good.
And then I could see like who everybody picks for like the different like mythology and folklore shit. You know, that'd be fun.
Oh, I dig that table. I dig that table a lot. All right. Well, now we're moving on to our next question. This is a question that we split in half. We give you one half. This side. Then after our break, we give you the second half.
Okay.
What would you say is your signature move as a player? Like, what if someone right now is watching and they're just like, why should I have that guy at my table? Like, what's your thing? What do you bring to the table that you feel you bring better than the average person?
My honest answer is I bring like the most like I talked a little bit about it before, but like the most thematic, like narratively like cohesive characters to like campaigns. Um, so like when I like get invited to a table, I try and learn as much as I can about like the setting that a game takes place in, or if it's already like existing, like watching the show and like learning more about like the characters that I've already been introduced, and um the like what has already been set up narratively. And then when I'm making my character, I go, okay, let's look at kind of like the base sources of this. So like for the Greek campaign, then for Tragedy Theologian, it was like we're going to be playing in a Greek mythology world that's not Greece, so it's not on Earth. It's in its own homebrew world. So there's no Athens, there's no Sparta. It's all original cities, and it's kind of generally Mediterranean, just using specifically Greek gods. So then I was like, all right, we have the Greek gods. We've got a lot of kind of freedom to deviate from like Earth's geography, as far as like what we can create. So I'm like, okay, when I'm thinking about like Greco-Roman, Mediterranean, classical kind of like imagery, I'm thinking of like two things. I'm thinking of monsters, and I'm thinking of like combat. Because a lot of those cultures were very like war oriented, right? So at the time, I had just recently watched the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe,
I
and I
love
was
that
like,
movie.
it's a great movie. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna make a gladiator of some sort. Like he's gonna be like fighting in the Colosseum. And then I was thinking like, okay, so I have this gladiator who's like in the Colosseum. I want to play a character who like isn't just like a guy. I want to do something that's more specific to this very specific like aesthetic. And I was like, what's more Greek mythology aesthetic than like a minotaur, right? Or some other like tar, like a satyr or a centaur or something, right? So I picked a minotaur. And then like that's that, and then that also ties back to a game that I was also playing recently at the time. That's probably my favorite game of all time, which is Hades, where there's also a minotaur who fights in a coliseum. Um, uh, and then I was like, okay, so this is like a super solid character, but I still need to like flesh out more about him. So then I took that and I was like, okay, let's look at like how I can like characterize him beyond just being a minotaur who fights. That's not unique really. So I was looking at like a lot of like, I wanted someone who's definitely like grizzled and like older. He's the oldest member of the party. So I was looking at characters like Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. I was looking at the Hound from Game of Thrones, who ended up being a very big influence on.
Yeah, it's a great character.
It's a great character. Also, little bits of Joel from The Last of Us sprinkled in there too.
Ellie.
And just end up making this character who's like very gruff and very like stern and kind of outwardly very aggressive and like standoffish more so than aggressive. But really, like once you get past the exterior of like this like grizzled guy, he's scared. He's this guy who's like constantly afraid that like he's going to be like taken advantage of. Like, yeah, he's a big, strong guy. He had 20 con at level 1, which is bananas. But he's just like he's very easily taken advantage of. He doesn't know how to like advocate for himself a lot of times. So that's kind of like who the core of the character is, and that's what I was looking for. Like whenever I'm looking for a character, I'm looking for like the core of the character that like drives that motive forward, that also ties into like all the theming that I had kind of based all the aesthetic around. So then Kashmir kind of came to life. I was also taking influence from like, because it's geographically not bound to Earth. I was taking inspiration for like his accent. Like his accent is kind of a mix between like Spanish accent, like from Spain, and also like Eastern European accents like Polish and Slavic, and kind of like smushed together. So all of that combined kind of makes like the brunt force of who Kashmir's character like is at his core.
So I love how like some people, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, are kind of frivolous with their character creation, where they just
Mhm.
kind of here's the concept and then they define it as the game goes on. But it really sounds like you do your homework and like you bake the cake before the game starts. Like
Oh yeah,
you know what makes the character tick, where you've drawn your aspirations from, and
Mm-hmm.
I admire the hell out of that approach. I personally couldn't do it. I've tried. It's just I always get lost in the sauce because like the second this first session starts, I throw the cake out the window. But like
sure.
I love people who can do that. That's just it's so incredibly cool. And that kind of brings me to the next question that I have for you, which is, do you have anything on a TTRPG bucket list? Or is there anything that you would love to have happen with the character? Any kind of moment that you would love to roleplay that you haven't gotten to yet? Like, personally, I want to fight atop a dragon at some point in my RPG career. Like, I want to
Mhm.
jump out of an airship without a plan and have to figure it out before I hit the ground. I'd like to roleplay a married character, stuff like that. So like, do you have anything like that on a TTRPG bucket list?
I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know why. I want to play just like an animal, not like a person who got transformed into an animal, not like an awakened animal who like
Also,
gained
not like
sentience.
Humblewood or Redwood or anything like
Yeah,
that.
just a just a dog. I don't know how that would work, why that would work. Uh but just like playing an animal who's like just very good at one thing and that's the whole character. Um it's a very kind of memey concept, but I think that'd be a fun challenge. I also at some point would like to have a big dramatic betrayal. Uh
Do you want to be
and
betrayed or
just
do you
be
want to be the
like,
betrayer?
I've I have been the betrayer before. I want to be betrayed. And I'm current like in the Streets of Gotham game, we're set up so that I am betrayed. At
Yeah.
some point further down the line. So it will come. I'm just impatient.
But the thing is, there are we've dipped into my special interest. There are several different types of betrayals.
Mhm.
There's like you've dealt with somebody shady and you hope that they were gonna come through, and then surprise they betrayed you, which is okay. That sucks, but like it's not Randy Orton out of nowhere. But then there's just like, your love interest sells you out in like that deep, like, oh,
Yeah,
this is gonna define my character for some time. So are you looking for any type of betrayal, or are you
I'm
looking
looking
for
for
that
that deep,
deep
traumatic betrayal. So,
Dylan,
spoilers,
you got a job to do in my
Dylan, please.
house?
Uh, so, so in the Streets of Gotham game, spoilers for season two. Um, so my character, I told you, like, he was like trying to steal back his art that the Riddler had that was able to like kill people. Basically, it's like this art that, like, if you look at it, it like breaks your brain in some way, so it can like make you feel certain emotions, or it could like paralyze you, or it could just straight up kill you, just instant brain death. Um, and uh, a lot of the characters were like, "You, you don't want this, right?" And my character was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a supervillain. That's my dream." Um, and eventually, they were able to like convince my character to like leave it behind. Like it's not for the good of like his career. Like it's too dangerous. It could fall into the wrong hands. and eventually was convinced to like destroy the flash drive that like had all the files on it. Little did he know that one of the other party members already copied all the files and just has it for themselves, and plans to use it fully. So like, and it's like the character that like my character had known the longest since like they were like since before they were adults, like when they were teenagers. So not only is it like someone like explicitly went against my character's back to like take something that like they knew my character thought was very important to them. It was done so after my character believed that it was all destroyed and using it for their own advantage and not using it alongside my character. So like already all set up to be like this big betrayal and this like big outburst of like this big fuck you, we are never gonna like be friends again sort of thing. So
okay, you got some betrayal coming your way. Look, I want to see you get that deep hurt though. Like yeah. I wish that for you in the best possible way.
No,
roleplay is so fucking weird, man.
Roleplay really is so weird. You want the most fucked up cathartic things.
Oh no, I love that. I
wish
you
a very merry betrayal.
I wish you a very merry betrayal.
Is there anything else on your bucket list?
Ooh. I would like to design a game. This isn't like a TTR. This is like an actual play thing. This is more of just like a game design thing. I would like to design a game alongside Vidic Valetti. He's a good friend. Also part of New York crew. Also based in Brooklyn.
God damn it!
But just one of the most clever, creative fucking game designers I've ever met. Like his brain just works different. I don't know how to explain it. I would love to like make a game with him in like if that's like a full-fledged like entire like TTRPG book, or you know, a bunch of little like one pagers or something. Like I want to collaborate with Vidic Valetti more.
Hell yeah. Somebody clip this and send it their way. Let's fucking make it happen.
Vinny, please! Please! Let me in!
Let's fucking make it happen! Let's make dreams come true today.
Hell yeah.
If you look behind that door, there they are. No, I'm kidding. All right, well, this has been awesome, and we have even more questions to ask you, but we are gonna go on break first, and then we'll come back with the Dark Roast, which is just more of the same. We just gave it a cool name.
Cool.
All right, everybody.
All right, until then, we'll see y'all in a bit.
See you in a bit.
See you very soon. And we're back.
We're back, everybody. Hello, welcome to the Dark Roast. Well, there's no tagline. I tried to create one on the fly, and it failed immediately. Welcome to the Dark Roast.
We brew stronger questions.
Yeah. Oh, God. See, this is why you're the motherfucking man. Yeah. When we brew stronger questions, and we're gonna jump right into it with the second half of a question that we presented in the first half. Mm-hmm. Now, normally, I ask, what's your what's your signature move as a player, and what is your signature move as a GM? But I don't know about your career as a GM. Have you been GMing any games? Can you tell us about that?
I've GM'd a few games, not too many online. Online, I've mostly been a player, but on one of the games that I've GM'd for, I was actually a co-GM with, if you know Alex Teplitz. We co-GM'd a game together called The Unicorn Hunt, which was actually my college thesis.
Bring me in on that.
Yeah. So
your thesis was a game?
Yeah. So my thesis was a game. It took a lot of cajoling to get my art professors to understand that it was for art and also a game. They just are not like one of them is like kind of familiar with like D&D more so as like art and less as like an industry. And then the other one had not even heard of D&D. So it was a time trying to convince them that what I was doing was real. But anyway, um, the Unicorn Hunt is a 5-part series in the game system called Trophy Dark. I don't know if you've ever.
I have not heard of Trophy Dark.
Trophy is a super fucking sick system. It's created by the same person who made Brindlewood Bay,
Okay.
Jason Cordova. And the idea of Trophy is that you're all playing like morally gray or like reprehensible characters, and over the course of the story, they all get ruined in some way. So the expectation is that your character will die, get
Die.
impaled, like become
Right.
possessed, like any
The
number of ways to like
karma
end
will
it.
get them.
Karma. It's a very cathartic game. Yes.
Okay.
Um, so the pitch for the Unicorn Hunt is that there's this big game hunter, and his name is Gorius Cage, and he's this very Theodore Roosevelt, Ernest Hemingway, like great white hunter kind of guy.
Yeah.
And his house is like full of like trophies and like everything. Well, one of the pieces on my website shows him, but uh he's getting older. He's like in his mid 50s, and he's like, you know what? I've lived a good life. I'm gonna go on one more safari, and I'm gonna hunt a unicorn. Um,
You got to be a real big piece of shit.
yeah, yeah. Um, and so he recruits a bunch of people that he's been in contact with for a while now. Um, all played. The cast was me and Alex as co-GMs. We had Christian on, a fluffy Goomba who played a werewolf named Archimedes, who was like outcasted royalty. We had Sloan, Art Plebe, playing Cage's like second in command, who was going to like take over his role in his like personal gang, basically. We had Serenity, Click Clack Snack, who was playing sort of this reconnaissance, like blackmailer, information broker kind of
Okay.
sellsword. And Dylan, who played this sort of wasn't elven, but had the kind of like pointy. Maybe they were elven. I don't remember, but basically like they were in like a blood cult and were like trying to like collect blood, and they were like, well, I'm going to collect the blood of the unicorn for like a specific ritual to like gain power in this blood cult. So um everybody kind of came together. Oh, and also Chaotic Bonnie, Depth, who played Teddy, who was just a serial killer who was very like bubbly and cute and had like a very like femme like extremely femme coded. But anyway, so gathered all these people together, and they go into the woods, originally in like this like tread tired tank like truck, and eventually camp out for the night. Spoilers from this point onward for the show. If you want to watch it, go watch it. It's on my website.
And I've linked your website down.
Yes.
And just a quick interruption. I just have to say your website is fucking gorgeous. Like,
Thank you.
Did you set that up?
So I used GoDaddy. It's a pretty reasonable price for just a basic website like this. I recently just revamped it a little bit. It used to be like a white background, and now it's kind of like that dark grayish black.
It's just perfectly structured. Your illustrations, your podcast, all of your appearances, all of the actual plays. Like look up this website if you're interested in knowing what Andre's up to. Please check this website out. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I also don't know a lot about like web design and stuff. So that's great to hear. Thank you. Um, but anyway, so they spoilers from this point on for Unicorn Hunt. Um, they go into the woods and then they camp out for the night, and then when they wake up, the whole car has been penetrated by like a giant tree. Like it was just like skewered.
Whoa.
And it like was like going straight through the windshield, and the lights were on, so the car became a unicorn.
Oh.
So like as they go further into this woods, more and more shit starts to look like unicorns. There are like these slugs that have like a single stalk on their head. There's this like very old naked guy who like lost his mind and is like, don't look for it. He's gonna find you. And eventually they're tracking along. They like lose a bunch of stuff, like a lot. Like an elephant went through a portal. It's crazy. And eventually they do find the unicorn, and it's not the beautiful white, stallion with like golden hair from like our popular like interpretation of unicorns. It's this like weird fucked up wood chameleon looking thing with like grass for hair and like a little like crooked branch with like a leaf at the end for the horn, and it moves like the Rankin Bass stop motion characters.
Hell yeah.
Nope, that'll be a note for me, sir.
And the unicorn is like, you found me. Great. The hunt can begin. And it turns out the unicorn hunt is about the unicorn hunting them. And they all get killed. So it's very fun.
That's incredibly cool. I definitely want to peep that. That's real. I always love it when something that's supposed to be sweet, innocent, and kind of like harmless ends up being. You turned the unicorn into a cryptid.
I did, yeah.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
It's so that's I think the only thing right now that I've GM'd like publicly that's like long form in any way. I've definitely GM'd like a one shot or two, but my power move as a GM is I love like one of my like recurring themes is like both a player and a GM is this idea of like the hunt, of like a chase and like predator prey kind of relationship. So I always love when I get to tell players like run, and then they're like ah, and then they like just don't know what to do, because like when you get told run, you want to do something like very physical and like get out of your seat, but it's like it's a game. So like how do you run in a game, and seeing how players like react to that every time is always I love scaring the shit out of players. It's fun.
Hell yeah! Can I ask you about your experience as a co-GM? Like, what? I've never done that personally. I just found the picture of the hunter and I love this guy.
He's fucked up.
That polar bear throne.
Yeah.
So baller.
And the baby polar bear next to it.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it's crying too.
Yeah.
Sick fuck.
It's so fucked up. That was so fun to make. But co-GMing with Alex was very interesting, because I came to Alex and I was like, hey, I have this idea for a game. I was wondering if you would like be able to like help me out with it in any way. And they were like, sure, yeah, like what would you like be interested in? I was like, well, I don't want to run this in D&D. This doesn't feel like a very D&D concept, It's not, and I want this to be kind of like a little, not mean-spirited necessarily, but definitely like a lot darker than I think a lot of D&D games tend to skew. And they were like, okay, cool. Have you ever heard of this game system called Trophy? And I was like, no, I'm not super proficient with like getting into like the trophy is not a huge game, but it was definitely a lot to like try and throw on in like a week, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, would you be willing to like help me out as far as like running the actual mechanics of the game? And he was like, yeah, sure, totally. So a lot of it was um, we would both kind of trade off between like narrating a lot of the actual scenes. I did more of like the character work. Um, and Alex, if you're familiar with his work, he does a lot of like horror adjacent stuff. Strange Hungers, which is the campaign that they GM regularly, is very like fantasy horror. So they also know how to like establish kind of the mood that I was trying to set for the long shot too. So a lot of it was like us kind of like switching off between like me role playing, both of us describing scenes, and then Alex for a lot of it doing more of like the mechanical like facilitation of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that was also just like being very clear about like what would you like me to do, and I was like, I would like you to help out a lot with like the mechanics, and we can like trade back and forth between kind of like set dressing. So establishing like what each person is going to like prioritize when they're GMing is like very important if you want to co-GM. But it was a really fun time. I haven't co-GM'd since, but it was a great time.
Yeah, that's actually very similar to how I've co-GM'd before the past two. Darby and I would switch off. I do more of the mechanic side. Darby would do more of the narration, and like that's always a fun balance to strike.
Yeah.
So, continue.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like that sounds like an interesting way to run and establish a game. I could see tons of benefits to co-GMing, so I definitely want to check that out.
It cuts down on talking to yourself when you're doing dialogue, for sure. If you have two NPCs you can talk to each other.
Exactly, like that's gotta be nice. But that's gonna bring me to another segment that we have here on the Dark Roast, which I like to call Petty Prime Time. We've gone into the interesting. Now I kind of want to get into the shit. Okay. Petty Prime Time is where you can subtweet in real life. Now, with a lot of the segments that we have in the Dark Roast, we like to lead by example because some of this stuff, you just hear it, it's like, what the fuck do you expect me to do? So, I will lead with my first Petty Prime Time, and you can kind of pick up the vibe, and if you want to join in, please feel free.
Sure.
Here is my Petty Prime Time. Wizards has spent all their goodwill. I don't know what more it will take for us as a space to act on the transgressions of this company, but if the OGL didn't motivate you, if the summit nonsense didn't motivate you, if the AI nonsense didn't motivate you, I 1,000+ people lost their jobs right before Christmas for a brand that is bringing them some, like, they didn't. I need y'all to fully understand that these folks did their jobs. They did their jobs to such an extent that a Hollywood film got made. They did their job to such an extent that the game of the year is directly benefited from their work. They didn't do anything wrong. They brought this company millions of dollars, and as a reward, they lost their jobs at Christmas. Drop the D's. Drop both of the D's. If there's no better time than now. And with the creativity of this space, we can make this boycott, this protest, fun. Make a multiversal event where there is a reason your game switches switch your systems. You know, like I understand that D&D has a reach, but at some point, morals and ethics have to come into play here.
Yeah.
Be better, be better, and drop the D's. That's
Um,
my petty prime time.
I can talk about that a little bit for sure.
Oh, absolutely,
Um,
go for it.
so I my current job at the moment is I'm actually a safety coordinator for Unprepared Casters, uh, the uh, the 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 podcast that's been running for a little over 2 years now. Um, that is hosted by Haley Whipjack, uh,
We
and
love one whole Haley Whipjack in this house.
Haley Whipjack and Mills Amelia Sam. Um, both of whom are fantastic. And when I was brought on, one of the things that they talked to me about was they want to stop doing D&D. Like they're sick of all the shit happening with wizards. And I was like, good. You already have your audience, like at this point it's not necessarily about like trying to reach the lowest common denominator. You have a recurring audience already, and like you have a successful like show already. You don't need to like continue, going back to the same well over and over. You can expand, you can try new shit. So um they were like, we also, don't necessarily have like a ton of experience in other games. And I was like, well, I do. And I've been showing them a lot of shit. So we just recorded a bunch of one shots that were in D&D 5e, but our next arc that we're going to be recording will be a different series, and it's going to be a great change of pace. They've been wanting to do different systems for a while now, and I'm really excited to be like not at the helm. I'm not GMing or anything, but definitely like helping to kind of navigate a little bit through the TTRPG space with people who want to learn more and
Yeah.
explore these like different systems. And I'm really glad that aspect of the TTRPG space is like gaining more traction. It's not, when I joined TikTok like 3 almost 4 years ago, it was D&D TikTok. Like
Yes.
there was no other TikTok. It's just D&D TikTok.
Yeah.
But now, especially after all the OGL shit that happened earlier this year, like we are kind of living in the midst of like a big upheaval in the industry. We're like, yeah, a lot of other games are like looking to break away from D&D. Paizo is actively trying to like step away further from the established tropes of D&D with Pathfinder 2e. You're seeing, Critical Role, who like their entire brand is based around D&D. They recently just started with like Daring to Press bringing out more indie developers like Spencer Stark and like developing like Candela Obscura, right? Elise and Gabe just released Session Zero system, which is like system agnostic. I got to play that at PAX Youth. That was fantastic. So much shit is happening now beyond D&D. That D&D, and a lot of times too, when I was getting started in this space, I was like, well, what if I want to play like a sci-fi game and not D&D? They'd be like, well, then just reflavor it. Like, just reflavor all the classes as like sci-fi.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's games for that. You can play Lasers and Feelings. You can play Starfinder. You can play Cyberpunk. There's other shit beyond D&D that not only is like worth your time, but also does things differently and better than D&D can run them. So if you're looking for like new systems, now is the time to like get your hands in there, because like there's so much shit happening right now all over, both on like the teeny tiny indie press of like shit that like Dylan and I released that's just like one pagers, right? As well as shit that's like from like larger companies that are not necessarily WotC, like Paizo, right?
Right.
So there's a lot going on, and I totally agree with you that like and that was part of my wish, right, of being a god king, was
Yeah.
just like, let's shrink the D&D down to no more than 20%. That's just, yeah.
I I truly think and I don't know, this might just be me and like my wanderlust, but I feel like if this space put together an event, like it was just like there are so many actual plays, there are so many stories that are going on currently, and if we look at popular culture right now, multiverse is like the big thing. I think if somebody took the lead, it was just like, in my story, if you want, the consequences of what happens here can reverberate throughout the multiverse, giving people a reason for things changing in their world. I think that would be just so fucking that such a cool and creative way to like come together as a space and give D&D the fuck you that it deserves and move on and have it be part of a story. Like I think that would be so fucking cool. But you
Yeah.
know that's just pie in the sky. But yeah, that's my petty prime time. I appreciate your petty prime time. If there's anything else you'd like to add, feel free. And Anita, if you have one, go
For
for
petty prime time, I already kind of subtweeted someone already, so
it.
I don't know that I have that was my only subtweet I have at the moment. I think that's it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You got
I
anything,
think,
Anita?
yeah, I think that it is to people's benefit to keep yourself apprised to what is going on in this space, especially when it could potentially affect your bottom line. Like, understand that there are a lot of companies that are making a lot of really cool things currently, and I, I don't know. It is definitely the time to do a shift. Uh, perhaps perhaps just wrap up the projects that you've got going, and maybe try making something new, everybody. And I'm gonna reiterate
Mm-hmm.
my petty prime time from last week, my petty affirmation. If you've got a game idea, make it. If you don't feel like it's good enough for a Kickstarter, you're wrong. It is. Do it. Do the thing. Earn the ducats. People
Oh
are
yeah.
willing to believe in you and your ideas. That's it.
I'm not
Just
though. Fuck you. No, I'm
yeah, you
just
are.
kidding.
You especially.
All right. So no, absolutely not. So that is our petty prime time. Which brings us to the TTRPG confessions. And I just need to check and see who's in chat right now to see what I can get away with. Okay, I'm good. I can get away with stuff. So TTRPG confession is if you feel like there is like it's the opposite of your signature move. If there's something that you feel like you could step it up at the table, or if there's just a bad habit that you feel that you bring
Here's
to the
Lavia.
table.
Absolutely not. You can get away with nothing.
Okay.
God damn.
I I will say that I tend to be a very distracted player. Um and that can bite me in the ass a lot. Like especially when I'm in online games, I'm on a computer, I'm usually like kind of bouncing around a bunch of stuff. I've got music or YouTube video kind of playing in the background for ambient noise, and then I'm also checking my email and looking on Twitter and drawing and just a bunch of shit. And then it's like your turn in combat. I'm like, oh fuck. What's my spells? And then just like kind of just forgetting where I am. Um, that's also fully like just neurodivergency too. So
Yeah.
um, that's the other half of it. But that's definitely bitten me in the ass a little bit, as well as I'll also just fully like, especially in the more mechanical games like Starfinder and D&D and shit, like I'll be like, nah, I don't give a shit about mechanics. I'll just I just want this thing to happen. You know, like I'm always someone who's like, if there's something narratively that like you want to have happen, we can just have it happen. There's no point in roles if you just want an outcome because it's more narratively satisfying or interesting, right? Um, don't leave it to chance if you just want it to happen. So I'm always willing to sacrifice mechanics for the purpose of a story. And I think that that works for a lot of the groups that I'm in, but I've definitely tried that with other groups that I'm less familiar with, and they're like, you didn't roll. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to.
No, I feel that. Okay. So that means we have to give you your penance now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, and here's what your penance will be. Your penance will be the next time you get distracted
Okay.
in a game, and it affects you're playing in a way where like you're like, oh wait, shoot, I gotta figure out what to do. Have that play in game. Like, why is your character distracted?
Oh, my character fully just being like,
Like, even in a combat scenario, like just like yes, like, oh, I'm supposed to like give us a quick explainer, even if like, and make sure it's cool with your GM, but like maybe there's a memory that triggered your character. Like maybe there's a reason in this moment they're not in the zone. Like
yeah,
it used that to give us some story tidbits.
hell yeah. I love that actually. I will definitely do that.
That is my penance.
I have a penance for you as well. You mentioned
Okay.
wanting to say just fuck rules and just do something narrative. I am going to ask that the next time that you have that urge, I want you to rules lawyer yourself. I want you to make the move that is the most mechanically sound that you can do within the rules of the game. I want you to get crunchy with this. I want you to use the crunch.
Okay.
Channel the crunch.
I will channel the crunchiness.
Do an Emily Axford move, like where
I need to talk to you guys about Christian, because Christian makes the fucking wombo combo-iest characters I've ever seen, and I'm so jealous. And I actually do want to make like a wombo combo character in something. In our Greek mythology campaign, his like Leonin champion of Hephaestus like can do like 180 points of damage if he wants, like just on one hit. It's maddeningly powerful. And I want to make a character in a system that just like evaporates characters. That sounds so fun.
do it.
So
That's
I
my
think
penance
I
for
think
you.
next time I make a character, I'll make a really crunchy character with like a lot of like mechanical shit. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, so now me and Anita, we have to do our tabletop confessionals, and I feel as though I should be given an exemption, because unfortunately the one game that I play, we went dark this week, for good reason.
Mhm.
So I feel I should be, and I'm sure chat agrees with me that I should be exempt. So, Nina, why don't you give us your TTRPG
Chat, do
confession?
you agree with that? I'm asking chat. Does chat agree that your penance
No,
should be extended
don't worry about it.
another week?
Hey, no, fuck them.
I
No,
got
fuck
an
them.
email last week from Lamia asking if they could come over and help you with the penance from last week.
Well, you do your sin.
What was the penance from last week?
Play a game of Star-Crossed and romance somebody. The penance still stands. It's that
What? You gotta play Star-Crossed.
Noir doesn't Noir says that they want to be romance, but when it comes down to brass tacks, he's a fucking coward.
Don't fucking cock tease me like that.
He's a coward.
Do you?
All right, everybody, listen up.
It's prop.
We're moving on.
This is a prop.
This is a prop Twitch. Don't worry. Oh my god.
We're moving on.
But you should play Starcross. It's really good.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry about it.
You have a whole chat of people who want to play smooch games. They do not agree.
Play it. Play a smooch game. Play Starcross. Play Spin the Bottle.
Do it.
It's fun by the bottle.
I'm not fucking around.
Yeah, play us. We have actually. I believe we do have Dylan's zine here, so we could do a spun the bottle game.
Play Spun by the Bottle.
And we have a bottle. We've got a big champagne bottle.
I said
that we
we
could
fucking
spin.
we're moving on.
Do you have a different penance?
Alright.
Do you have a different sin that you can confess to?
No, I've never done a thing wrong ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You're God's perfect little angel.
yeah, that's right. I'm Shadowheart.
I will say, if you still have not played Starcrust, your penance is now to play Starcrust and Spin the Bottle, and Spun by the Bottle. Or you can also play my Spun by the Bottle game.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at how cold-blooded Rashadi is. He can't. He just figures out the pair of moves. You can't run from this.
Don't you dare.
We got the most insane chat.
Unhinged.
So yeah, what did you say your sin was, Anita?
Oh no, we're not dodging yours. Nor sin is being an avoidance scaredy cat.
Hey, I'm not scared of shit.
Except
It's
smooching
just
people.
the logistic. It's just the logistics are a little off right now. So like I'm going to do it in the game that I was talking about. This is my comfort pistol. I'm gonna do it in the
Fidget
game
toy.
that we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's just that we had to take a week off. That's all. But I'm still gonna do it. So don't worry about me. Okay, we got it. All right. I promise. Are we gonna have to Jim Carrey yes man noir? What does that mean? No excuses. I knew this segment was gonna turn into a clusterfuck. This week.
You brought this on yourself. This
I
is yours.
know. I invented this stupid ass segment.
It's true.
Oh my god, there's a knife emoji.
Nor, what if we roleplayed just kissing right now? What if we did that? Just to get it done. It's just check the box, you know?
What if we just smooched right now?
Yeah. That's fine.
We've lost.
I need everybody to chill out.
These props.
All right. All right. I'm not gonna push you. I'm done.
All right. Anita, what's your
All right,
sin?
Anita, what you got?
Yeah, what do you got, Anita? You look. These are all prop. They don't fire.
Mine is a
just-
case of chronic indecisiveness. As a GM, I have so many ideas, but then I can never settle on a system because I have too damn many systems. That's my sin.
That is a conundrum. I've been in that conundrum before.
I've got too
It's-
many
it's
games.
tough.
I've got too many games, and I want to play all of them. But for the story that I want to tell,
So-
none of them quite fit right, so then I wind up buying more games, and none of them fit right. What do I do? What do?
There is kind of, so often we build the stories first, and then we try and find the system that fits it. Your penance is to just pick a system and then make a story for it, or take an existing story and just fit it inside. And you might have to trim it up, crop it up. You know, one of the things that I was taught in art school is that, like, don't be precious with it. If you gotta crumple it up and start over, that's what it is. You know. So look at, like, pick a system and then make a story. That's your
I,
penance for me.
I am going to still mental Lamia as if I need to get more reason for them to come after me. I'm gonna steal their penance. Assign each system a number and roll for it. Introduce a little chaos to the system.
Dog chasing cars.
I wouldn't even know what to do if I caught it.
I don't even know what I do if I caught one. I just
Just
do
do
things.
things.
I would love to do just like a
Oops,
full
all
like
Joker.
a full like recitation of that dog chasing cars monologue to Harvey Dent. Ugh. Just like throw it in a campaign and have it like fit. That'd be so fun.
You know the thing about chaos? It's fair.
Air. I love one of my favorite things about the performance is I've never been more aware of my tongue when I watch Heath Ledger's Joker because he's like and I'm like, put that fucking thing away. Keep that inside your lips. It's I because then I just become so aware of my own tongue and it's just yeah. Anyway,
I want to run. I don't want to run. I want to be in a cyberpunk RPG so bad. Like I'm looking at cyberpunk cosplay pieces already. It's just like, oh man, I would kill to be in a cyberpunk game if anybody's casted for one. You know?
Cyberpunk sounds very fun. I don't know if I've ever been in any Cyberpunk games.
I've been in one and it was I played a fixer. It was so much fun, but it was for like it was a play test. So like after we got done, we're just like, okay, that's that system. Let's try other systems. And I'm like, no, I want to stay here.
I like it right here.
I want to live here.
Just let me stay in this reality.
I'm going
Uh,
to snuggle up with this system forever and never leave.
Oh man, I've taken a step back from the space. So I'm only in one game, and now that I've gone like I want to say like a good couple of months away from the space, the craving to be in a bunch of games has come back.
Yeah.
Just
The
You can only stay
hankering.
away for so long.
oh,
Just when I think
Daddy
they're
needs
out,
to
they
play
pull me back
pretend.
in.
Yeah. The dangers of being a social animal is
it sucks.
it sucks.
Uh, but that will bring us to
Do
the
you have any other
ultimate
sins, Nora?
cesspit.
Nora? Sins?
No, I already told you I'm God's perfect angel. I didn't do nothing wrong. We're moving on.
All right. That's fine with me.
Fine.
I-
Moving right along.
My penance will be the same as it has been for the last 2 weeks.
3
Somebody in the game that I'm in say, hold on. Alec, Barnaby. Yeah, you're right. That is 3. Wait, who do we have last week?
We were off because, or no, we had Dimples. So 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Fuck.
Dimples, nice.
Yeah, fuck. It has been. Alec
It's
the
been a
Bard,
month.
Barnaby.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
No,
You've been dip, duck,
Listen.
diving, dodging this question. You've been doing the 5Ds of dodgeball at this penance for a month. For nigh a month.
That's a reason it's called a slow burn, people. Look, you just want smooches to happen? Is that what you want? It's gotta be.
Yes! You had a chance.
Give me my
And you
smooches!
didn't take it.
It's gotta
You
be
had
timed
a chance.
right. It's gotta be done right. You can't just jump into these things, people.
You had a chance, though.
I mean,
your GM was setting you up.
I did
And
that.
you know what you did?
Like,
you swerved.
and you
You
denied
zigged
it?
when you should have
I
zagged.
did.
You fucking Bridgertoned that shit?
Yes.
I cannot believe you. What? This is not some Regency era fucking good society game. The point is to smooch.
It's predation. All right. We're in a reality.
It's not predation. It's gifts. It's a present. Happy holidays, Noir.
Oh my god! Perfect. This fight. Damn, that hit me right in the melanin. God damn. All right, it's not perfect, but you know it has to fit the narrative. Like, how do we get back here? I thought I escaped.
We're dragging you down with us.
Way too late. I fully conceded, and then you just told on yourself so hard.
I didn't see nothing. Okay, all right. Listen, let me break down what's happening again. All right. Listen here. You knock it off. All right. Right now, we are reality hopping. Our native realm, our native reality is one where there are dinosaurs and the like, and we've discovered there is an evil AI that is trying to become something called the Planivore, which eats realities and is coming after our reality to get to the main real reality that is Earth.
That's so sick.
Right? So we are now reality hopping back to the reality that AI came from to figure out who created it and how we can stop it. And we just ran into the AI that created the evil AI that we're after, and we just got the tools to shut that AI down. Tell me where Smoochie can fit in this. All right, I got a job to do. I gotta stop this AI.
Noir, you've never heard of a fucking subplot? Like there are things beyond just the main mission in every game. You can smooch while you're running towards the next AI. That's not. They aren't mutually exclusive.
Like I said, if you're setting off on a dangerous mission, you've got you have like a tender moment alone.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about my character first. All right, before y'all go making your judgments as I'm just waving this thing around.
All right, I'm listening.
All right, my character is something called a Karn. Karn are individuals that were raised from birth to protect the tribe. That's their main thing, right? If a giant dinosaur comes, I step in the way and fight the dinos so everybody else can get away. This character just discovered there's something meaner and more vicious than a big dino. It's an evil AI. So his whole deal is like, I gotta be the one to stop this evil AI, right? So I did kiss a dino. I kissed my dino, Kimmy. Kimmy is a pterodactyl. Gave it a little one on the snoot. It was adorable. But my character is focused on protecting the realms and also coming to grips with the fact that his reality is one, not the real one, and two, one of many, infinite realities, in fact. So right now, he's kind of going through a lot. Not exactly in the best headspace for smooches, is all I'm saying.
Look, I'm not saying to throw yourself into a full-blown committed relationship and, jeopardize your mental health just because of smooches. But you can smooch as a means of coping.
Yeah.
You can there's
Lamia says tension sounds palpable. Maybe you could use some sort of release.
Noir, the world
Sounds
could
like you
end.
can use a break, a smooch break.
This could be the end of the world.
Yeah,
Worlds.
but the thing is,
Worlds,
we only have one episode left, right? So
That's
like,
the time.
Perfect
You
time.
kiss when the atom bomb drops, Noir.
As
That's
the
the
world caves
time.
in.
I can't believe I've been bullied by four of the most prolific voices in the TTRPG space.
It's what it is. You have to do it.
And I'm gonna. It's just
Better.
Who you
It's just
smooching?
it's gotta happen.
Who you smooching?
Huh?
Who you smooching?
That's not your. Well, that's the other problem.
Who you smooching?
That's the other problem. It's in the middle of the season. One character and my character, we just, I mean, like, we were just like, hey, it kind of seems like they're in a relationship. I was like, yeah, and they were just like, okay, and I was like, all right, and then like it was kind of like a thing that we hinted at, but it never really like went anywhere. It was just kind of like, there are just moments where it was clear that these two are close. Then another character is just another player character is like, hey, it seems like these characters are kind of getting close, and I was like, yeah.
Polyamory
And
is
now
okay.
I'm in a very quiet. I'm in a very quiet love triangle.
You're in a very quiet
It was just
polycule.
like,
You need to turn your very quiet love triangle to a very quiet polycule. Into a very loud polycule.
well, there's one episode, and we've got to fight an evil AI. We don't have time to work on the structure of the relationship.
You grab them both as the world is being consumed. Mwah, mwah.
You hold them both close, you kiss both of them, and then
Yeah.
boom, penance done. Penance
And then-
not
and then
only
penance is-
solved, but improved upon.
And then if you save the world, you can smooch after.
Well, that's the plan. Is we're gonna see if my character survives, and if they survive, there may be smooches.
So if you die, you're just exempt. I don't think so. You have to then kiss the god of the underworld. You have to kiss Chiron or Charon on the ferryman
Well,
as
I
away.
Well, I should also mention that the GM has made it very clear that we'll probably have to fight this AI to the death, right? But I mind melded with the AI that created this rogue AI, and that AI really does not want to see their creation die.
So you've like brain kissed.
Yeah.
Oh
no, no, no.
I'm free, baby. I'm free.
Not,
Fuck
you're
you.
not. That's not brain kissing.
I don't look. You are inhabiting the same physical space.
Yeah, I brain kiss the AI.
Brain kiss.
Oh, y'all can suck it.
Look,
What does this show become?
look. But if you didn't
We're just so
explicitly say it was
desperate for a
brain
loophole.
kissing the show, it's not brain kissing.
Well, it was kind of like a mind meld.
Listen, I said
Dealio.
the terms of my penance were very clear. You were to smooch. I said smooch. This is my specific word. You were to smooch one PC with consent or one NPC also with consent.
And I did.
Did you smooch?
A brain smooch.
Brain
It was a brain smooch.
Did you explicitly describe it as a brain kiss or like the culmination of a bunch of feelings in
It
the
was
mind?
the culmination of a bunch of feelings.
Did you describe it that way in the game?
The
Or were you just like,
the GM described it
That
as
doesn't
you
sound-
didn't! You did not!
It
They,
counts! It counts!
no!
You! I said
You get to run away
not the
from it.
GM.
You! You have to do it!
You. Anyways. 1 month.
Oh,
You have to be the initiator.
1 month of dodging this penance, and you did manage to have an orgy in another one.
I did have an orgy in another
But you
game.
didn't
Does
say
that
you
count?
smooched.
It's implied.
Fucking is not smooching.
Wow. Wow. Hold on. I've got to catch up with these threats that chat's been giving me. Noir's gonna die on purpose. Oh, okay. Listen, I told y'all I was gonna smooch. All right, and I'm finna. As long as I survive.
We will be watching on Monday.
You have to do it.
Stop slipping and sliding out of the floor.
If Noir doesn't do
Noir
it by
doesn't
next
do it-
episode, AJ says that he's hosting.
Good. Well deserved.
Is this how I retire from morning ritual? Because of lack of smooching? You thirsty motherfuckers. First off, y'all don't even know what show it is. Because I don't know that I've seen you in chat. I've seen Rashadi. Rashadi will talk. We'll be in chat talking shit.
I've been in chat.
But y'all don't know.
I don't have to watch a show to be invested in characters.
The show is Legacy of Silver
To
Creek.
be-
It's on Althaven on Mondays.
Damn, you just snitching?
Yeah, because it's my
Okay.
penance. I initiated this.
I brain smooch. I feel like that counts.
AJ,
He just says you cock block me all the time.
This is your punishment.
I
You,
cock blocked you twice, and it wasn't even the point. It was just things happened that, as a side effect, cocks got blocked. Like that was it. Wasn't the purpose.
you're cock blocking AJ in other games, and now you're cock blocking AJ outside of a game that they're in. That's just you're bullying AJ.
Also, Morshadi, that
Can't
is
believe
the
you're doing
perfect
this.
URL because Smooch is in the URL.
I feel
Oh my
like
god, it
I
does.
feel like I'm the one being bullied, and nobody's coming to my aid.
It's
this-
not bullying if you do this to yourself.
This,
It's been a month.
this is racism.
It's not racism.
This is a racism.
This is not a racism. AJ's also calling you out,
So is Lamia.
and so is Lamia.
It's also anti-Russian. Like y'all are talking beating up on me because I'm Russian.
See?
Anti-Russian.
Yeah. I'm also Russian and y'all with your American nonsense. Okay, that's gonna bring us to our next segment.
Okay.
Please.
You know what? Let's move it
I don't-
along then. Let's move on to our next segment after our TTRPG
So
confessional.
I'm
At Dark
sorry.
Crab Time. I'm
sorry if I've
concede
insulted
the
any-
point for now.
Good, because I've already done it. It's the brain kiss counts.
I'm sorry to all the Ruskies out there.
Yeah, listen, we've been attacked. I just think that it's time that my people, the
Lamia,
Russians,
this is how you repay the
the love
ancestors.
really. Oh, geez. So if
You have, for the past half hour, you've been doing nothing but telling on yourself.
I've been trying to dig my way out, and it never works.
No, it's not working.
Okay, here we go. It's gonna work. All right now. I'm changing the subject. It's gonna be
Here we
slick.
go. The
If
next segment.
if you've been in the TTRPG space for long enough, you've probably had the displeasure of playing with a that guy. A that guy is a veritable black hole of fun at the table. Someone that if they were yeeted into the sun, your experience would improve tenfold. So I have to ask you, have you played with a that guy?
I have played with that guy. Do you remember earlier this episode I mentioned the Forbidden campaign?
Yeah,
with Sarah and Depth and Serenity.
yeah.
Forbidden Gift.
That was GM'd by that guy.
Wait, I'm
Um,
sorry. Could you repeat that?
that was GM'd by that guy.
Oof.
Um, and it was brutal. Like there were lots of warning signs all throughout that we just kept missing until like it just fully went too far. There was a very obvious like main character in the party according to the GM,
Mm,
which is always a warning sign, like unless it's like explicitly part of like the premise of the show and everybody on boards with it. Never should be a main character in a party. That's
yeah.
always like gonna lead to resentment and bad times. Um, fully because I mentioned it was a modern campaign, right?
Yeah.
Fully text RP'd simulating therapy, like actual CBT therapy. It is not like a licensed professional. That was
Ugh.
yeah. Um
Why?
uh
Like,
I don't know. Um it was also a campaign that was like every religion was like every religion in mythology was included in a very like American gods kind of way.
mm,
And we were in call in our like game server one night, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to incorporate like the Japanese god of lightning into our games." And he was like describing like what he wanted this god to do, and I was like, um, I don't admittedly know a ton about Japanese mythology, but I know enough to know that that's probably not that character. Like that's not that god. I think that's Zeus. Do you want Zeus in your game? And he was like, no, I want this Japanese god. I was like, okay, why do you want the Japanese lightning god when this is obviously like Zeus?
Zeus.
And he was like, for diversity. Um,
Oh.
and I was like, bitch, I'll kill you. I also fully had to explain to him the concept of ethnicity versus race, um, because there was a character that he was like role playing who was Spanish, and I was like, "Hey, is this Spanish character white?" He was like, "No, he's Spanish," and I had to be like, "Okay." Uh, so there are Spanish people who are not white. There are like Arab like Spaniards. There are Jewish Spaniards. There are Black Spaniards. There's like other people who are from Spain who have Spanish ethnicity. He was like, I don't understand. He's just Spanish. And I was like, why? I literally just explained everything you need to know. Please give me an answer. Like, it's not hard. Um, so,
Ooh.
uh,
I am so sorry that you had to fucking go through that.
I also later found out
Oh
after the
boy.
after the campaign was over that all the other players in the campaign, I guessed for the one episode and I kept coming back, and they were like, they were trying to advocate for me to join the campaign as like a full-time cast member, and the GM was like, no, and it was also like an all like white group at
Mm.
that point, and he was like, no, I'm more focused on being queer.
That's not a substitution.
That's not and I was like, no, no, that fucking stung.
That's not.
Uh.
So
We can't do both at the same time.
we're not allowed. There's only one kind of diversity I'm focusing on right now. We also, like, after the campaign reps, I was privy to a lot of like big plot points that were going to be in the game because I wasn't official, like I wasn't an official cast member, so I got to know a lot of big secrets about like what was coming up in the story. And I found out very close towards the end that apparently the GM's big plan for like the final battle in the campaign was for them to like realize that they're in a TTRPG and like talk to the GM as the GM and like see and like talk to the players like they're like talk to themselves the players as their characters and then just like go back to the world and like just cope, I guess. And I was like, that's so lame. That's so lame. Like, why would you end
There's ways that
like
you could
and
do that and it could be interesting, but like
yeah, there's this great game called Die RPG. I don't know if you've heard of it, but that's like the entire premise is that your character it's like an isekai sort of thing where like you like a real person gets trapped inside of their player character that they made for a game. And it's really cool, but like you can't just throw that in as like the final battle and then just end the series. That makes no narrative sense. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So
Uh,
that's my that guy story.
yikes! Yikes on bikes. I did have a concept similar to that. With melding the lines between TTRPG and
Oh,
you lost your audio for a sec.
how about now?
You're back.
there we go.
It updated. Sorry.
No
Ah,
worries.
Yeah, I had an idea like that, but yeah, you don't just fucking like that's the thing that happened and then drop it. Like that's kind of
It's so
ridiculous.
random and meta, everybody.
it's meta. It's a commentary about what? It's a commentary. You know,
I'm
it was
commenting.
dumb and sad. I'm
I
commenting.
I'm probably because he isn't smooching. You motherfuckers. What was I about to say? Yeah, I'm so sorry that you went through that game. I do find it kind of funny though that I feel like most people have that one campaign that was just fucking awful that sent them on their way to becoming who they would eventually become. So, I'm glad you got yours out of the way early.
Yeah.
That
And
that
it's like where I met like a lot of the core of like my like still current friend group. So I'm, I'm glad I met all those people through that game. I am very happy that game is no longer existing.
the, the forbidden game.
The Forbidden Campaign.
Forbidden campaign.
So we have another segment that we like to do here, which I have to get better at remembering, called the TTRPG Commandments. So this is where you get to add to a list of existing TTRPG commandments that we have had from other guests. So I'll give you a few examples of the ones that we had. We have Sarah's commandments, Hype Goblin, which is everybody at the table should be just as invested in other people's stories as their own. We have Amelia Tyler's, the narrator of Baldur's Gate, who says, "Thou shalt create fun experiences with players less experienced than you without the GM asking you to." Then we have Emily Friedman, Dr. Emily Friedman.
Dr. Emily Friedman,
Let
thank
me
you.
put some respect on that motherfucking name. Thou shalt play many different games with many different people, and thou shalt not treat people as things. Then we had Alec the Bard, which is prioritize telling a good story as a group instead of as an individual. And also, thou shalt give your baddies daddy energy. So, what would be your TTRPG commandment?
Mm. Thou Hmm. What kind of commandment would I want to make? Because like I think a lot of what I would have put is like covered of like, be collaborative, play other games, bring in new people. Um, um, I would say thou shalt engage in the game. Well, you already said like be invested in other players' stories, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
We got some good ones.
Thou shalt add to the world that you play in and not just live in it.
Ooh.
A lot of times, when I play with people who like just play to play, um, they're just kind of like going through the motions and they're not really like, you know, bringing something new to the game. They're just playing the game, and that's totally valid. That's a way you can play. I always get very bored at those tables. Um, and so whenever I play a game, I always try and bring something new to it. I always try and add something to like the existing lore canon, especially if it's like a homebrew setting that like a GM is like trying to like develop further. I will like I'll just add details of like things that like my character might have on them, or different like setting descriptors of like what kind of like environment we're in, or different organizations that my character might have had experience with in the past, as like ways to just like trickle in more lore that is just enough for a GM or other players to like start to like fiddle with as well, and like you know to play with. And that's so much of not only like TTRPGs but also like world building is play. And if you're just using like what's just readily available for you, you're not doing anything new. You're only just just reconsuming what's already been. Um,
Oh, that's I like that. I like that a lot.
uh, that's something that I definitely prioritize as a player. Of like when I joined the Gotham game, that I originally got that opportunity because my friend Pooja was going to be gone for the time that we were recording season 2 because she got married and had her honeymoon. And so they were like, well, we need another player to come in. So I was like personally recommended by Pooja, which was very kind of her. Um, and I had been watching the show, up to that point, and I was like, well, there's a bunch of shit going on with like Two Face and Joker and Scarecrow and like a bunch of these other villains, and I was like, I'm gonna bring in a villain who like has not even been remotely mentioned yet. Like, I'm gonna bring in someone who plays into like a different aspect of like the Gotham City aesthetic of like graffiti. I'm gonna like try and like pull in more of a lot of the characters that they've been playing around with. They're a lot more, I guess they would be considered like more serious villains, more dramatic villains. Riddler a lot of times is not that. He's kind of this dweeb in the corner being like, riddle me this. And, a lot of times he's not considered a threat. And so I wanted to bring in a villain who was like, all right, I'm bringing in this character who like starts with this villain. And also I wanted to bring in a player character who starts with the villain, but eventually leaves and joins a different villain, or eventually becomes their own villain. You know, a lot of the other characters are very tied to that, established connection with a DC character. And I wanted to use that connection with the DC character more as a launching point rather than just being like an anchor. So a lot of what when I'm joining a campaign or creating a character is like just do something different than a lot of the other characters. And there's lots of ways to be different too. Um, it's not necessarily just like going against the flow. If you're in a game like City of Mist, where like the whole point is like you're playing with archetypes, the thing that might be new is to like fall in line with a trope, right? Is to like, if your character is kind of like embodying the soul of King Arthur, maybe maybe you want to be a very powerful guy. Maybe you want to have a cane that acts as Excalibur, right? Like that's right.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun is determining what's different for each different situation. So
I, I like your approach to TTRPGs. I see how you're sitting at all these tables. You attack this in a really cool fucking way. Um, our next segment or question. It's another new one. So, uh, there is a concept that we discussed last episode, which is the comfort blanket player, where it's someone who brings you to a new table, and whether that table whether you're comfortable at that table or not, it, at least that person being there makes you comfortable. So even if the table turns out to not be what you hoped it was, that person made the experience worth it. And I was going to ask, do you have a comfort blanket player?
yes, I do, and it's Dylan. Unsurprisingly, um, Dylan and I of a lot of my friends have met more recently. So Dylan a lot of times has like these kind of friend groups outside of my own that are a lot more oriented towards things like game design or more oriented towards sex work,
Right.
um, and so those are like tables that like I might be familiar with but don't necessarily have like a lot of like personal connections to.
Right.
um, and so like a lot of times like Dylan has invited me to be at these tables with like these different people, and I'm like, I don't know where I am. I'm just here. Um,
Just a little
but
guy.
just a little guy. Um, but Dylan's always very very kind and considerate as far as bringing me into the fold, um,
That's awesome.
and he's just fantastic. Yeah.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I bring this segment up because I think we need to, as a space, give a little bit more love to the comfort blanket players out there because they're what stops this space from being just a number of clicks and turn it closer into what might someday eventually resemble a community.
Yeah.
Um, so shout out to all the comfort players out there, or comfort blanket players out there.
CBP.
That's going to, yep, that's going to bring us to our very last segment. um we like to end on a more positive note, and this is the community spotlight. So if there are people that you feel aren't getting as much love as they should, folks that you think we should reach out to have them sit in the hot seat. It's not really a hot seat. I don't imagine anybody's too stressed talking to our goofy ass. Or if there's just people that you want to shout out, this is your chance. There's no limit, there's no time limit. You can shout out however many folks you want. And At some point we're going to edit all of the community spotlight recommendations together and do a little bit of a highlight reel. If my big boy job ever gives me time to do that, or if anybody else wants to pick up that torch.
That's awesome. Um, I'm going to immediately shout out Christian, a fluffy Goomba. If you don't follow Christian, you're a fool. He's one of the most charismatic, creative, personable people I've ever met. He is currently streaming on Twitch regularly, as well as his YouTube channel has all of his VODs, as well as he's also doing tutorials on how to create player characters and like learn different systems beyond just D&D. He started out with the Power Rangers RPG, and and is currently in the works with a bunch of other stuff. He recently released how to create a character and how to play Capers, which is a card-based like noir style game. Super cool. Noir style superhero game. Um,
I do have to say, I had the pleasure of GMing Goomba for our Harlem Unbound game, which
oh
was a
yeah.
all black Cthulhu Call of Cthulhu game. And we enjoyed it so much so that y'all should probably pay attention to the socials come February because we were like, man, this was fun. But you know what else is fun? Cowboys. So
Cowboys!
so if y'all like The Harder They Fall, be on the lookout because we might have some cool shit coming up next.
Baby, I love me a cowboy. Um, but yeah, Christian should be at every table, and you should pay him. Um,
Yeah.
that's my first shout. My second shout is Serenity Click Clack Snack, who is a fantastic GM and player. GM's tragedy theologian, and is also a sex worker. You should be supporting them on everything. And
Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans, the whole shebang.
the whole shebang. She's got so much to bring to TTRPG projects, and I think she's going to be on the D&D cruise again because she was on it last year or this year, and that'll be sometime in the spring. So if you're going to be on that cruise, you should play with Serenity. They are extremely cool.
I
Uh,
recommend that I support the shout out even though I hate their logo and I hate what their name implies. Click clack snacks? No, you don't put dice in your mouth.
I also drew the Dyson mouth logo, so
I
I'm complicit.
no.
Yes, I did do that. Look, I stand by what I said about what will be. Um, obviously, I have to shout out Dylan, Super Dylan, one of my co-players on Adamless, longtime collaborator, very dear personal friend, my best friend. We are going to be actually making more games in the new year, like we did for the Promptober thing that we lost our minds about. Um, and if you want to check out the games that we've made together, we've made the Bound TTRPG bundle, which is all the TTRPG Promptober stuff, as well as we made American Werewolf Biker Club together, which is a game where you play as a biker werewolf gang traveling across North America. It's super fun. And he uses playing cards as well for as the main mechanic. It's super cool. Both of those are linked on my website. Love you so much. If I also want to shout out, I mentioned him earlier, but David Brunel Brutman, who is the GM of Streets of Gotham. He's extremely cool. He's also a game designer and an artist. He made the simplified version of Blades in the Dark, just called In the Dark, that we use for the show. It's fantastic. It's very streamlined, very comprehensive, and easy to read. He'll be releasing that very soon for purchase. I don't remember if it's for purchase or if it'll be free, but it will be available. He also made a Good Society supplement where you play as birds, which is extremely fun. And also just a wonderfully creative guy. Everybody on Streets of Gotham, including Marcy, Hopper, who's failed deadly, and Maddie, and of course Pooja, who I also mentioned. Everybody on that show is extremely, extremely talented, and all the people at Manapod Studios as well. want to shout out Adamless Gang. Besides Dylan, we got Momo O'Brien, who has been such a huge joy to like get to know more and play alongside. Norden, who is a fantastic player and always one for the dramatic and a great role player. And of course, Matt, who made everything possible and has done so much. I cannot believe that we are where we are. Almost, and I would argue solely because of their commitment to this game. Fun fact: the Atomless had been dropped from like 3 channels before we like got started.
Wow.
Yeah. It has been a bumpy ride. But I'm very glad we're.
Imagine dropping that bag.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine fumbling that hard?
Yeah. Also want to shout out Depth, Chaotic Bonnie, who is a very fun, bubbly light in my life. They are currently preparing to do a long-running campaign or a long-form, a long shot. That's the word I'm looking for. Called Ithaca Rising, which is another Greek kind of inspired game. That will also have Christian as well as Wasa and a few other people in it too. So definitely be on the lookout for them in the coming months. And also, you should just be watching us on Tragedy Theologian.
Man, there's so much new talent that I want to play with. Like I haven't played with half you motherfuckers.
Oh, and AJ, can't forget that bitch. Fuck you, AJ.
No, we don't. No, we don't give AJ.
No, shut up. I'm gonna talk about Husha Kid. I'm gonna shout out Husha Kid, who I love very dearly, and that bitch. I always read his private tweets out loud.
Me.
Really? Oh my god! I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I'd be ready to like repost or like quote retweet them, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is this wrong account.
I will fully be in my server, like hanging out with AJ and Christian and Depth and a bunch of other people, and I'll just be like, "Hey, what's this horny thing you posted?" Just like in VC in front of everyone. It's very fun.
Oh god, the new host of Critical Miss. Oh, okay, I see. That's how it is. I'm being replaced. I'm being replaced.
You just dropping Noir.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
No,
that means
AJ's replacing me.
I'm free from my smooch obligations.
That's
what that means.
Wait. I'm forgetting someone. Who am I forgetting?
This is the painful part of the community spotlight, because like no matter what, like an hour later you're gonna be like, oh fuck.
yeah, definitely. Oh, shouting out Sarah again, Sarah's Coffee. Currently the community manager for Wizards and D&D Beyond specifically. They still do shit. They are extremely fun and creative. I love them very much, as well as Sloan Artbleed, who I got to see again at PAX. Have they ever been on the show?
Yes.
Oh, Sarah's Coffee? Yep.
Sarah and Sloan have both been on the show.
Okay, cool.
Oh my god, we talked to
oh my god. And I'm gonna find one more. Oh, do you guys know Moose?
Moose?
Yeah, Mustafa. Goes by the Super Goat.
I know Mustafa.
Yeah, Moose is great. I have not seen him in a minute. I know he's been kind of all over recently. He's been affected by the conflicts happening in Sudan. He's Sudanese, and he's currently in Cairo right now. Thank God. But I don't know his availability right now. But you should just support Moose. He's
Absolutely.
a joy and a wonder. Give him a shout.
Yeah, we're TikTok mutes for a while now.
Hell yeah. But I think that's a good spread.
No, that's
an excellent
that's
spread.
a incredible list of people. And if you're not following these folks already, do it. And if you are following them and you got some extra coin in your pocket, I think most, if not all, these folks have coffee or Patreon or something.
PayPal.
Yeah, a PayPal support creators, because God knows a lot of these big companies don't want to. So,
and if you want to support me, I have a coffee, I have a PayPal, and you can also support me by supporting Unprepared Casters on Patreon.
Do it.
Recently, we actually just dropped a holiday one shot where I play a kangaroo boxer, and we have to wrangle up a bunch of not reindeer, and it's extremely fun and chaotic.
Is that like a not deer but a not reindeer?
Well, okay, so in the UC universe, there's not a Santa Claus, there's a Santa Claus. And instead of his sleigh being pulled by reindeer, it's literally just a bunch of random animals. So there's like a scorpion, a panther, like a bat, like a rabbit, like literally just a bunch of random animals like attached to the reins.
Okay. I was thinking it was like the cryptid, the not deer.
Oh, like a not deer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, definitely check out Precasters too. That's where I'm working professionally right now. So, and if you want to commission me, feel free to email me.
I might have to hit you up on that pretty soon here.
Yeah.
But Anita, is there anybody you want to give a community spotlight to?
Ooh, this week community spotlight. My community spotlight is gonna go to to Chaotic Derby this week. Because Derby for some reason always hits me up with cat memes exactly when I need them, and remains one of the funniest people that I know, and stupid supportive, and I get flustered and mad when they're supportive like that. But how dare she? Anyways, do you have a community spotlight, Noir?
Yes, my community spotlight goes to any individual that does not partake in cyberbullying people about smooches. That's gonna be my.
Is it cyberbullying when I'm just in the next room?
Yes, that's mine. And yeah, and on that note, I think we have completed another episode.
Yes.
That's right. Thank you so much for joining us, man. This has been an absolute pleasure. This is the part of the show where despite the words that I literally just said 40 seconds ago, where we will bully you to come back, because this has been an absolute blast.
I'll gladly come back.
Oh, great. I'm still gonna bully you about it.
Okay.
but we would definitely love to have you back on Morning Ritual, and we would love to play with you at some point. So that is the show, everybody. We hope you enjoyed. We're gonna go ahead and raid some folks. Why don't we go ahead and raid Hmm.
Do you want to do a
Oh,
brief outro first, or?
I was gonna say who we're rating, and then we're gonna do
Oh,
the outro.
okay. Go for it.
I don't know.
Who would rate?
Let's raid indoor because I don't trust y'all to go to DeLevely's channel.
Oh, really?
Not today, motherfuckers. Anita, I swear to God, I swear, don't you fucking.
Where are we going?
We're going to Indoor Gaming's channel, Indoor Adventures.
Is Indoor online?
Yes,
Indoor Indie is online.
yes.
Okay.
They're building a keyboard.
But guess what?
What?
You're also in a Game on Indies channel on Sundays. More
So
fantasy
I've been one of
stuff.
your hosts, Noir. You can find me all over the internet as the Noir Enigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, OnlyFans, Hive. What the fuck else is Blue Sky? Pornhub, the whole thing.
Hell yeah.
Andre, where can you be found?
You can find me at AndreRiveraArt on social media. Except I hate social media, so not that often. But you can just watch me in all my shows by going to my website, AndreRivera.art. You can see my illustration portfolio, all the games I've designed, the actual play series that I'm in, and a few podcasts as well. If you're interested in commissioning me, please reach out to me at AndreRiveraArt@gmail.com. And I hope everybody has a happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday. What the hell?
We were going to raid. We were going to raid Indoor Adventures, but AJ just redeemed for 50,000 channel points. Guide the raid.
Where are we going?
So instead, we're
Fucking
gonna go
petty.
to DeLevely because someone was feeling petty today.
So fucking petty.
So we're gonna head over to our good friend Sam DeLev over at DeLevely. You can find me Sundays at Indoor Adventures channels on Tuesdays on Modifius and occasionally Fridays for Table Takes. And yeah, that's it for me. We're gonna be doing more channel stuff pretty soon. Once Nikki's off from school, we're gonna start taking pitches for the next season.
I forgot. I have been working with Kill Every Monster, and we just released pins that I made, based on Nikki's episode. We made Medusa pins. So if you want to check those out, yes, go check that out at Kill Every Monster's shop. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But that's been it for our episode, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. But until next time, the ritual has concluded. Bye, everybody.
Bye.